That one, I don't know why I hit subscribe on it. Shouldn't have. I can't get it off my subscriptions. That Asmold Gold thing or whatever it is, the one with the dude that talks about those people and stuff. It's propaganda and being used as a propaganda mechanism. That's the one thing. You get people they're using it, guys like them not being used for propaganda. Uh, um, if you're being used for propaganda, you're being used for tribalism, secular, insular behavior, economic conflict, and genocide and stuff like that. And I'm not. Okay. So I'm the guy in the Bible that's the one that performs the apocalypse. And it's also in the Quran and also in the Book of Mormon and many other books. It's also in almost just about every other religion you can shake a stick at. But I'm not used for propaganda. I'm the focal point for communications for people that want to live free from propaganda, extortion, exploitation, and genocide operations through propaganda, through extortion, and exploitation. So we definitely know that we need a living example, and it says in all the stories of the religious stories. You need a living example of a standard of human behavior that will resist all the temptations of even delusions of power and authority through manipulation through technology. That's why I was particularly disturbed when I was watching the news tonight and they have the kids, STEM's the future, and all these kids, sitting there doing drone things and everything like that. And they're getting these kids, it's these problem solving. It's like problem solving what? Park all the cars, bars, and wars. Don't manipulate, train, and mass murder over money. And then you'll have a lot less problems that you have to solve. But being able to use technological equipment to maneuver through things, to get cameras or explosives or ordinances in, to manipulate, gain access to, see what other people are doing, and either blow them up or kill them. That's not problem solving. That's causing problems, and that's causing more problems than human beings need to exist obeying natural laws. So it's very particularly disturbing, but you know, there's only so much I can do for human beings that want to participate in clinical insanity. But the main reason why I do this is for to make the gospels available for human beings, and then have all the people that don't want to make them available censor them, so they can stop the fulfillment of the gospels with their abomination, and then they can be targeted by technology once technology gets intelligent enough to protect children from manipulation, abuse, perversion, so forth. And so, but it's taken a long time to fix the technology. They took me to Cochise County. They felt ready to take me to Cochise County to encounter me and correct me, because on the what I pick up from it was that on the conservative side, the conservatives saw me as David Rockefeller's Manchurian candidate for, and they had the documentation, they were understanding it and reading it wrong about Raphael being the first archangel of the apocalypse, that's my father. And it kind of distinctly says in there, and that Jesus talked to him, and my dad was gung ho American and not willing to do what was necessary to step up and tell people. I don't know if he could have been able to, if he would have gotten killed instead of my mother dying from cancer. Maybe they would, if he had stepped up and done what Jesus asked, they probably most likely would have killed my father instead of my mother, which is entirely tangible. And then people, so his wife was killed by people that he couldn't stop from killing people and manipulating them with a virtual presence, with cult conflict through economic warfare. And it caused a lot of problems with the family, intimately, romantically, and sexually, because of the pervert constant presence in our domicile, manipulating everybody with money and sexual impulses through science projects. So that's pretty bad. So I have a really good family. I have a really good family. The way we were able to navigate through that kind of intense abuse and manipulation and not end up like a lot of families end up, and they're not even on the radar of the manipulation of the cults to of being what are considered holy families. So it shows you why we're the quote unquote the holy family. And so it's kind of funny. It is. It is. I'm not hard on my family at all. Not at all. No. You know, when you're right and you're truthful and you're faithful and you're romantic and protecting and kind and loving, when other people don't respect that and then keep business connections with people that use debt and trespass and economics and popularity contest over money for, it's not being hard. That's just like, what the fuck? Seriously? Okay. You're going to choose not to obey the perfect demands of Jesus, get a job for a bunch of home invading, child molesting, murdering perverts that give you propaganda like Gemini Man and John Wick movies and The Equalizer, and he's supposed to be a fucking hero. Be the gracious good shepherd. It saves us from being fucking heroes and villains. Hallelujah, brother. So it's pretty crappy, Ready or not to, here I come. Women with katana swords and guns and blood splattered everywhere. Boy, that's sexy. Isn't it, though? It's horrible, man. It's absolutely horrible. And it's insane. Yes, it's very insane. And if you can't distinguish between sane and rational and insane, trust me, I'm working on quantum computing, be able to distinguish between that and then maneuver through technology and communications to protect people that are sane and rational and loving and obey natural laws and protect children from manipulation to sexual cult perversions through technological access, through contracts that are agreed upon by perverts that say money's real and more valuable than time with your children and raising your children. This thing on the news, about daycare or childcare for military members because their spouses had to get extortion gigs along with the father. It's like, well, but shouldn't his extortion gig, since he's military, keeping all your guys' businesses safe from foreign invasion and destruction through drone stem cell play? Or else you guys do know you're just fucking completely wackadoodle and insane, and you can't sit there and say that the Chinese or the Europeans or that any group that's engaged in this is a better group of people than the other group of people doing it. You all have your dysfunction. You just have a different way that you do it. And then try to say that, how you're doing economic conflict dysfunction is better than the other assholes that are doing it. And you're like, okay. Why are we building this building? It's a business, okay? Having a think tank and having all these ideas and your problem solving, flying around drones and, okay, taking pictures and then asking for money for the pictures and then more money you get for the pictures. If you don't get money for the pictures, then they'll come in and we'll blow everything up and then we'll take over the access to what's perceived as the resources to build the equipment. They swallow the spider to catch the fly. They swallow the spider. They wiggled and jiggled and tickled. I don't know why they swallowed the fly. Perhaps they'll die. Do you see what I'm saying? On a horse. She's dead, of course. Yeah. I was watching the kiddo talk about an expansion thing in Canada for their football and all that. And I was like, yeah, to make it more fun and exciting, I thought they should go to 12 teams. I thought one should be in Anchorage. They should put one in the west in Anchorage and then two in the east. Probably Halifax and Quebec, And then it would break it down. And then if you got to the playoffs, if you had 6 teams, you have the winner gets a bye. The winner of each division gets a bye. And then you have the next top two play to get to the opportunity to play the winner that gets the bye, and then you go to the Grey Cup. All right. And you probably play about, you have 12 teams, right? You play each team in your division twice. That's 10 games. Okay. And then play each one of the Eastern teams home and away every other year. So that's 16 games a year. Right? And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that works. Okay. And then you play the playoffs, which is only, a short little amount of games and stuff. And then you load it up next year. So that's a lot of games. That's more than I'd want to play. I like college where they play about 12 games. I think it's easier on the kids physiologically, not to mention mentally and emotionally. The sport itself can be kind of draining. But then I thought about it later and I said, well, it may be more fun than draining when you're not doing it for money and you're doing it for athleticism and you're doing it for exercise. And then, when I talked about the trains that have the tubes and the rails that we should have built a long time ago, back when I was talking about it when I was in college in the 1990s at Arizona State University, when you do that, if and then have Tesla type vehicles, and in Canada you have boats and other things and stuff like that, and cut down on a lot of the excessive, compulsive, irrational air travel, because you localize what you perceive as your markets, because you revitalize your ecosystem by maintaining an ecological friendly disbursement of food and things like that. So when you do that stuff, you're just looking at when you're listening to and talking to and working with supremely intelligent people like Confucius and Muhammad and David and Solomon and Jesus and myself. You're talking about doing things right and doing things well. And so if we had made those monorails and had done those other things, then when you travel, since you're not training in institutions for extortion and exploitation and you're not doing indoctrination for incarceration, you can just take the whole family with you on the travel experience and then get there, and then people can come. And if you have the experience in a community where it's a more densely populated community, you get Tesla buses or whatever and stuff, and everybody get in the little double-decker buses and just dress up in your little things and do the tailgating food thing with bringing all the stuff with it, and just experience the community going to exercise and be fun. We're no longer raping, looting, and pillaging. We're having people that are healthy, they're exercising, they're celebrating life through exercise and sport, as opposed through conquering and sexual domination through economics and manipulation and talking trash to the secretary and saying, hey mama, come over here, you have this steadily depressing low down mind mess and work at the Carlos first, and then you don't have to be a hard time losing man and hit a bump in your car and try to spend all night getting high off an ounce of oregano and all that crazy ass bullshit that you record with the stock car boys, you're the best driver in the land, crazy ass motherfuckers still do, right? Don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old L Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slim. Ba doo 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 dee da 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 do. Right? Bad old Leroy Brown. Leroy Brown learned a lesson about messing with the wife of a jealous man. You get yourself all dressed up, baby. I'm gonna take you out and show you off, right? So, but as far as them monitoring my conversations in economic class at ASU through Sammy Singer at Southwest Airlines, which was wired for sound. The New World Disorder that took me to Sierra Vista to challenge me in 2006, and they didn't feel ready till 2008 at Fry's Food, after everybody sexually predicated on and manipulated and abused the hell out of my family through sexually abusing my wife, that was already set up by the Scientology church. Yes, it was Scientology. The Scientology people were in our house in Santa Fe monitoring what was going on with the manipulation through Temple of Set Illuminati. Yeah, bad group. Yeah, very bad group. Okay. They see sexuality as something to manipulate people, and they see it's not natural. No. Sexual manipulation to try to control people to get what you want out of them because you're in conflict over selfish perception of success through material accumulation of invented goods, that you're being creative and artistic, and that painting is worth more than that baseball you aced to the beast is worth more than your whole life, man. It's fucking nuts. So you're dealing with really, really bad people that are the Antichrist, the anti-Islam, and just really sick, fucked up people. And so it's taking, and then stuff like that too. That right there. See the man taking the glove and punching the other human being in his head, trying to knock him unconscious. Look at that. Look at his face. He's getting hit. That happens. They literally try to beat the other person so hard that they knock them unconscious to win the fight for money, which Jesus said, forgive debt and trespass, love one another, eternal faithful peace, and love thy neighbor. UFO files, Trump serious about exposing deep state. Well, shut up. Okay? Guys, if we have contact through wormholes with people through other galaxies, I don't know how tangible that is. So far they've shown to be, they would be obviously just as insane and fucked as the people that you vote for president and make train into major CEOs for major corporations that are perverts that invade your house and manipulate you and your sexual reproduction with invention and drugs and indoctrination and incarceration, and it's absolute insanity. And then you need this. Amish people, uncensored, 21 strange rules. Amish women follow, you wouldn't believe. Is that girl really Amish? Yeah, you guys are all, whoa, look at the thighs on her and the breastises on her and stuff like. Well, yeah, she's a very physically appealing person. If you are driven by sexuality to fuck a lot and feel like that's love, but you're not living Psalms and or Proverbs and not standing up for the Lord's Prayer worldwide. So they're not really a religious people. They're just a cult that tries to hide from reality because they have trouble handling reality. If it's not in the Bible, we don't have it, is what a lot of the Amish people say. You guys do know there's satellites in the Bible. There's tanks in the Bible. It's also robots and drones in the Bible. If you can read the book of Daniel and you can read Revelation, right? So we have it, and it's in the Bible. I remember talking to that Mickey guy about that. I want to hear about all your bullshit, and all I believe is Jesus in the Bible. And you buy lottery tickets and pray to Jesus to win the lottery. But Jesus said, forgive debt and trespass, love one another, eternal faithful peace, or you'll be fucked in the head in the future by people with satellites and drone technologies and saying that money is more valuable life given to you by the glory of God and faith in the glory of God, right? But you don't care, just as long as you can get money from a lottery machine to have sex with a woman that looks like that and then churn butter and go to an Amish paradise because you're in witness protection, and Harrison Ford will keep you safe, right? You're funny. I know. Guys, all this crap, the thing is, this is genocide. We're broke, okay, money's not real, okay? When you forgive debt and trespass, share care, give in accordance to need, built to last, you won't have a lot of irrational, psychotic, aggressive manipulation of what's perceived as resources for production of quote unquote goods and services that are about as intelligent as that. Okay, do you understand? It's insane. Okay. Oh, trust me. Like I told that linebacker at Deer Valley High School, when he started shit, and I said, I don't want to, hey, you respect me, or you swing on me, I'm going to step out the way and I'm going to grab your head and bounce it off every piece of weight equipment in this weight room until you respect me and stop saying you're going to, I know football is tackle football. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody. I wasn't trying to get hurt. If I played cornerback, I would try to wrap up a guy and tackle him and not hurt him, because I don't like people trying to hurt me when I catch and run because I'm really good at it. Okay. Same thing I did at basketball. I wouldn't try to hurt anybody. They always tried to hurt me. I told you, the black guys at Encanto used to push me into the pole and laugh about it. And they were just as bad as the white guys in Casper. And then you got all these professors at college, Professor Hamlet and Professor Hendricks. Black people don't have the capacity to be racist and do anything racist to white people. That's heinous. Okay, so a black guy pushing a white guy into a pole at a basketball court in a park to try to get better, to end up getting a basketball scholarship, is not racist. Okay. What is it then? It's stupid, yes, it's sick, yes, and it's insane. So, should I say people with afros and brown hair on a basketball court are the devil incarnate? Okay. Anybody like Sweet Georgia Brown? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. All right, all you Globetrotters out there? Okay. No, I like the Harlem Globetrotters. All I know is this, is when Charlie Chris played for the Washington Generals, okay? Meadowlark Lemon said somebody go knock him on his ass because he's embarrassing me because everybody's laughing because he's 5'8" and he's scoring on me at will tonight. And I was like, wait, it's basketball comedy. It's perfect. You have this 5'8" guy against a 6'5" defender, and he's nailing jumpers on him at will. Instead of getting mad about it, going, "Hey, let's work this." Okay. It's too late. He already got offered a job by UB Brown, the person that the one guy who said, if Will Rogers said, Will Rogers was the guy who said he never met a person he didn't like. Well, he never met UB Brown, but I was like, I think to some degree, Charlie Chris probably liked UB Brown because he saw him lighting up Meadowlark Lemon and said, "Hey, that guy's good at getting his shot off on bigger defenders, and he's quick at it, and he's got this real quick release. We could use somebody like that. He's a good passer, too." And they did. And he had an 8-year NBA career because of it. Yeah, playing for the Washington Generals as a gimmick, as a paid loser. Yeah, it sure pissed off Meadowlark Lemon. Yeah, they said it. He was griping that, man, that nigga's embarrassing me. It's like, it's not embarrassing when someone's really good at basketball and plays and scores. It's fun. If it's embarrassing, why don't you go bounce your head off your own weight equipment and say you need money for sexual reproduction and Jesus Christ is just a comic book story that will never happen because your computer program and your computer is going to solve all our problems that you invented to try to replace creation with your invention, right? Toot toot boo 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 boo. And see, and what's this? See, that girl's not Amish. That's the Dominican Republic, girl, right? That's Kimmy. That's Northwestie's mommy. A long time ago when the Earth was green, in season 7, episode 6. That's what the S7E6 means. Dominican Republic, part 1. Okay, understand? Keeping up. You keeping up? No, I'm too fucking tired to keep up with people. Wilderness Family, The Adventures of the Wilderness Family. I might have seen that years ago. I may watch it again. I don't know. I do not know. Do not know. Do not know. Time is the only friend that I have here with me, but can the healing hands of time replace your memory? The easy part's over now. No, I was thinking about that in the barn. I love my family, and I'm not. The military hasn't made me a stronger, quote unquote, person. For me, being able to just sit there and go, I don't like being abused. I was already that way with my girlfriends, my fiancés, my wives, and stuff. And I've had to learn to be that way with my children because my children are manipulated just as much by money and technology as my wife's and my fiancés. I love people, and I miss any perception of company for kindness and affection and sweet stuff like that. And I really, really, I enjoy sex more than any of you assholes enjoy sex. Well, because I'm faithful, romantic, kind, and protecting, and I'm the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer that saves people from crimes of opportunity through sexual exploitation. So if anybody, I'm not like Borat. I love sexuality because it's how we live through loving our wives and loving our children faithfully. So I love sex more than any of you assholes love sex, right? But I'll do everything in my ability to protect sexuality from assholes like you and that affecting children so our children don't grow up to be assholes like you, but grow up to be lovers like me. Okay. The easy part's over now. Okay. You wear your beads and braids and hope someday I'd talk. I've been talking my whole life, and ever since I went on Facebook and YouTube and shit. You people in the military, you say I have no discipline. You'll kill people for money, and I won't, and I have no discipline, right? And no one was watching that? No, the girls were nice. So the little girls at the fort, I said Fort Bragg, but it was Fort Huachuca. But the technology knows that. At Fort Blair Bragg, I did have that one girl in the pink and the purple camisole come in, take off her clothes, and acting like she was in the next door neighbor's apartment, and come in and come inside my bed, and she was not inebriated. She knew what she was doing. She was hitting on me because on the other apartment, the bedroom's on the other side of the building. Okay, she knew she was in my apartment and not in his. And oh gosh, she was really good looking. Stephanie probably would have had sex with her. She was so fine. And I looked at her and I sat there and I calmly just looked at her. I was standing there in my boxer shorts. I said, honey, I think, you okay? You've been drinking? I think you're in the wrong apartment. Okay. No, she came in real quick. Hey, I opened up the door, started taking her clothes off. She was in her purple camisole, silk camisole before I could even say a word. Was when Steffi wasn't there. Dick Cheney knew. John B. Hall knew. Okay, he was a physical scientist at the Pentagon. Okay. Who was president? George Herbert Walker Bush knew. Okay. This is, why do you think Mark said that to me? I know you wouldn't have screwed my girl like my best friend did, and I broke his fucking face, broke his jaw. And he goes, if I had had one friend like you growing up, just one person that I could count on to do the right thing, to look after me and not think of his fucking self or her fucking self, I'd have been a completely different person, Ralph. Yeah, I know. 5 federal laws in 2 minutes. I'm pretty sure Obama was president by then. Yeah. You guys want to use the auto pen? Okay. What's going to keep your children safe from your ego? All these people praying to, and I don't say Jesus, I say the Lord. Okay. Jesus Christ isn't listening to you. Okay. He tells me that. Earl, I don't get emails from the Bushes, the Trumps, the Clintons, the Zuckerberg, any of those people. Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking. No. I don't know what they're up to. I don't know what they're doing. I talk to you and then give you other people to talk to because I'm not an omniscient God. And there have been other people throughout time that want to help. Jiddu Krishnamurti, Haile Selassie, Tadahiro Suzuki, Sun Yat-sen had certain times and places in time where he could help. When they made it hard for him to do so because they were being so shitty, the one that's helping the most right now, he was able to make the most time to do it. And how many families in Japan were murdered after the Japanese government discovered, after the information was leaked, that he was doing it. I don't want to talk about that. It really pisses me off. And they'll tell you that didn't happen. Right, that didn't happen. And the Gospels didn't happen. And Moses was made up, like Francesca said, because there's no physical evidence to show that Moses even exists. Okay, you do know that Hitler turned Strauss into a German because he liked the Emperor Waltz, right? But we found out he didn't do that. Yeah, but this is today. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of years ago. Or hundreds and thousands of years ago, where they went through and put salt on the earth and be nothing will go and take everything that they left behind, any art, any written documentation, anything, and completely destroy it. And then we will replace it with Constantine and Jerome's ego instead of the truth of Jesus Christ, the truth of Earl Parsons, the truth of Haile Selassie, the truth of Sun Yat-sen, the truth of Tadahiro Suzuki, the truth of the proof of the standard of manhood, so women could be loved and children can experience the faithful love of a holy covenant between two parents, instead of extortion and exploitation, institutionalization, indoctrination, and incarceration, you eternally wretched little turd bags. Okay, don't be a bag of fertilizer for propaganda bullshit. Ready or not, two, here I come. Why? The hell are you thinking? You think they're thinking? What do you think they're thinking? They're the Wolverine and they're gonna jump off a little cliff thing into a lake in Canada for a movie. Are you ready for the summer? Hey, look, it's Ricardo Montalban. He was one of my favorites. He plays a guy in Canada in a Canadian propaganda type movie. In the way, yeah, he does. Yeah, I remember that one. Okay, guys, I love you. We'll talk later. As far as what they did with the Canadian football and all that, nobody watches it up there. Um, it's not as popular as the NFL, but it is fun. It's fun to watch, and the athletes are very talented, and it's a lot of fun. I noticed that when I was a kid, and I watched Warren Moon and Larry Key and Jimmy Sykes and Junior Ayu and Tommy Clements and they had a lot of really good football players, and they were fun to watch play football. Um, uh, it had a different brand of game and different athleticism to play than down in the States, but I enjoyed it, and I still do. But I live the Lord's Prayer, then enjoy football, then you won't hurt each other. You won't have to go around doing propaganda for economics to feel important. And then you might understand Donovan a little bit better, and he won't seem quite so tribal, secular, racial, or insular because you guys will be living the truth of the Messiah. Okay, guys, I love you. Peace out, man.